Axel, you want a coffee break? Go get that son of a bitch. I'm John Recton with the retro review of Beverly Hills Cop 3 from 1994, directed by John Landis, who's had quite the career. Music videos, movies. One such music video was Michael Jackson's Thriller, Thriller Night. May Vincent Price rest in peace. Movies include Coming to America, so he reunited with Eddie Murphy back when Eddie Murphy was on the goddamn ascent before flops basically put him in a funk during this particular production, according to the IMDb page, and he has basically since said the movie wasn't all that great. He wanted to be taken more seriously, and you can understand that considering that the first one came out in 1984 when he was on the ascent, doing his stand-up, doing all the stuff, wanting to party all the time. Beverly Hills Cop 2 coming out just 3 years after that. So this came out 7 years after the sequel, for those of you that aren't math majors, and that's quite a long time to go with 3 movies. Fuck, even the Lethal Weapon series went, I think, with 3 movies in 5 years, and then waited 6 years for the 4th one, and they're apparently going to do another Lethal Weapon movie. But boy, where to start with this? First, John Landis. He also did Blues Brothers 2000, that came out in 1998, so I don't quite understand that. You're seeing yourself into the future. So, The Stupids, Innocent Blood, Three Amigos, and so on and so forth. Stephen E. D'Souza, who did Die Hard 48 Hours, again, going back to Eddie Murphy, and Commando. This movie went Commando, just freeballing, and basically just freebasing, and just basically being free of comedy, intelligence, and anything proper. Now, the first one was not necessarily one of my favorites, but it at least had some life and some energy. The second one wasn't all that great. It was just more of the same. And this one, it simultaneously is taking place in the mid-90s, yet somehow feels older than the 1984 movie, and I will never understand that. I will never understand how some movies, and maybe I'm just crazy, but some of these films that came out in the early to mid-90s felt older upon reflection, older than some of the movies that came out in the 80s. It's just weird. There's a lot of gunfighting and shooting, because you can't just fight with guns. I mean, you could just go like this and everything, and bully, you could do a whole bunch of stuff like that. And then there's comedy that I think like 1 or 2 lines hit, but what doesn't help is the fact that John Ashton as Taggart, he was not able to be part of this because of production issues, and Ronnie Cox wasn't able to be there, so Taggart retired, even though they're coming out with Beverly Hills Cop 4, Axel F, or Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. I could argue that Metro, they came out in 1998, 97, 98, one of the two, was the 4th Beverly Hills Cop movie because Eddie Murphy wanted to be taken more seriously and being in a funk and wanting to treat this character more seriously. You can understand that. I don't think that's the problem with the movie. The problem is the movie's devoid of anything really entertaining. So you have John Tenney, you have Joey Travolta, you have Jimmy Ortega, you have Gilbert R. Hill, who's only in there for a little bit as the captain before a botched raid of a mechanic shop where some mechanics were dancing to Diana Ross for some reason. They, Gilbert R. Hill got shot, and unfortunately the man did pass away in 2016. Not from this, because he didn't actually get shot, as weird as that would be, to survive with bullet wounds for 22 years. He dies. Judge Reinhold returned, Teresa Randall, and the goatee guy, Hector E, as I'm going to call him, Elizondo. He, the guy from Pretty Woman, great character actor, by the way. Apparently he's still alive. Good for him. So yeah, this one just was not successful. So you had a $50 million budget that, according to IMDb and according to Paramount executives, they had to get on set and say, why the fuck is this costing us so much money? So the budget may have gone up to $70 to $75 million, so basically double that in today's money. Just for clarity, $13 million for the first one and $27 million for the 1987 one. The sequel, that is. $12 million opening for this, so double that. $15.2 million for the first one for its opening. $26.3 million for Beverly Hills Cop 2. $42.6 million for those that are math majors. 42.6 is less than 50. Definitely less than 70 to 75 million. Double that, basically about $90 to $91 million. $234.7 million for the first one, and $153.7 million for the second one. And both had similar worldwide box office grosses. we had about 316 for the first and 300 or thereabouts for the second one. This had 119.2 million. So it may have broke even. That's bad. And it didn't help that if they had done this in, say, 89 or 90, it might have helped. Now, I know Eddie had other commitments. You can check out his filmography. That motherfucker stayed busy. But this wasn't good. This wasn't good at all. Basically, this takes place at a amusement park called Wonder World that apparently was, and I wrote this on my goddamn notes because I would have forgotten, Paramount's Great America. And Santa Monica, one of those words, is the favorite name of Hulk Hogan. If you can't figure it out, I can't help you. Now you can't unhear it. Eddie, more subdued here, wasn't cracking as many jokes. The raid doesn't work out all that well. There's a character named Ellis DeWald that's running a counterfeit money scheme. The captain gets shot, says, Axel, are you on a coffee break? Go get that son of a bitch. The bumbling Detroit PD comedy didn't necessarily work all that well. I guess the opening was okay, but in trying to have a bigger budget, just something about this just didn't work. So he goes to Beverly Hills because he tracks the truck there. They apparently drove the truck all the way to Beverly Hills. That thing must have had a hell of a goddamn engine for them to make it there that quickly. So yeah, it was kind of funny just seeing, him chase down these criminals while they're in a semi-armored truck while he's in a chop shop car. And then he goes to Beverly Hills, gets, after this FBI investigator named Fulbright basically tells him, hey, what the hell are you doing? We're trying to bust these guys. I'm not in on it. Why would he's in on it? Of course he's in on it. Why the hell wouldn't he be in on it? An automated info kiosk where he does some comedy and basically tries to say Rosewood, and for whatever reason that turns to French. Judge Reinhold returns. He's kind of a big deal with a bunch of letters. DDOJSOIC or however. Teresa Randall has a brief role. Teresa Randall, who, by the way, would become Martin Lawrence's wife in the first 3 Bad Boys movies. They took place over 25 years. And the 4th one just came out. Check out my review of those if you really want to know what I have to say. So, while at this Wonder World theme park, he runs into some security guard criminals, obviously. And he ends up saving some kids that, are about to fall off this malfunctioning, spinning Ferris wheel type ride. Because nobody can figure out how to save children and not endanger all the people at this park in full view of the public. They are, if nothing more, they would get investigated for that, so maybe you shouldn't call attention to that shit. Whatever, it's fine. So, basically, he finds out about the counterfeit money. He's trying to get at Ellis DeWald, even does a thing where he's at an award show, tries to get at him. Yeah, this doesn't necessarily work. Serge, who, was the espresso man at that art dealer shop, back before, if you remember, tying back to the original movies, he is back because they needed a legacy character, I guess, for whatever legacy this series has. And now he's into guns. And then he shows him a really bright keychain that's kind of a stun gun that has a really, really bright light. Somehow packed into that little thing. Apparently he is Q. I'm not going to say it right there, but that probably, wasn't the best thing for me to say. Q as in the James Bond character. So, yeah, we get some 90s tech and some 90s, cheese. We find out that everybody's basically in on it. Flint, Hector's character, you think he's in on it. Except maybe he's not. But Fulbright is. The action scenes aren't good. None of the shootouts work. There's a guy named Uncle Dave who owns the whole damn thing. It's played by Alan Young. And he ends up getting shot. And Ellis tries to frame him. So basically, Axel's on the run, yet he's able to call the police station in full view of a restaurant of old people. And that's quickly forgotten about because Uncle Dave not only gets saved, but basically says, no, Axel didn't shoot me. It was this other guy. Janice gets captured. Now, they're running this whole damn thing in this deal. This freaking, this broken down part or this fixed part or this repaired part of this particular, amusement park, Wonder World. I'm kind of dragging here because I really didn't care much about this movie and I was starting to zone out at this point. We get some shootouts, some ridiculousness. Axel gets shot a bunch. Reinhold gets shot a bunch. Flynn even gets shot. But Ellis ends up dead in a very anticlimactic way, and then Fulbright ends up dead. And now, basically, Uncle Dave says, hey, here's a new character, Axel Fox, so here you go right here. There was an attempt at a romance between Eddie Murphy and Teresa Randall. It didn't fucking work. This movie just overall didn't work because none of the comedy hit. It was messy. The production, you could tell, was absolutely just a goddamn nightmare. And this was not Eddie Murphy at his peak. And not that I would have expected this to necessarily be great after Beverly Hills Cop 2 wasn't all that great, but Jesus Christ, this was almost offensively lazy. So yeah, that's really all I have to say right there. Nothing really worked at all. So yeah, Axel F. coming up in here in just a little bit. Let me know your thoughts on this one in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rickland. I'll see you soon.